As we step into 2026, the Calgary market is still softening as we enter the new year. After the last few years of unprecedented price growth and demand, we're seeing the effects of seasonal slowdowns and elevated inventory. This is leaving a lot of buyers feeling a little bit cautious and sellers kind of wondering what's next. Well, data from late 2025 shows inventory levels significantly elevated from this time last year. And while sales have clearly eased, they remain consistent with seasonal patterns and long-term trends. This mix of signals shows us that the Calgary market is neither booming or busting, it's remaining relatively stable aside from the condo market. Condo owners, unfortunately, are definitely feeling the squeeze, while condo buyers can find some pretty favorable deals at the moment. At the same time, detached and semi-detached homes are still holding relatively steady, with balanced conditions and far less volatility relative to their higher density counterparts. So let's get into the details. The benchmark price for the typical Calgary home came in at $554,700, which is down 4.7% from this time last year, with the days on market sitting at around 53 days to sell the average Calgary home. In December, we saw 1,126 total home sales, which is down 14.6% from this time last year. Inventory is currently sitting at 3,860 active listings, which gives us around 3.43 months of supply. So as you look at the December numbers, just try to keep in mind that this usually represents around the bottom of the market in terms of seasonality. It'll probably be a lot more informative to see what happens in the 2026 spring market, as that will better show us where the Calgary market currently stands without the additional downward seasonal pressure. I think here it would be good to stop and take a look at some of the data points from 2025 as a whole. You can see that last year sales have dipped overall, but the big slowdown was definitely much more pronounced in the row and apartment segments. As for prices, detached and semi-detached homes actually saw some small gains in value overall, where the row and apartment segments saw modest declines. I know that I'm supposed to be a bit of a catastrophist here on YouTube to get that view count to go up, but prices have remained relatively stable overall. Sorry if that's not entertaining. So inventory numbers are still climbing, but that should peak as we enter the spring market. Also, the average days on market are trending the same way as the inventory is, but again, should see that speed up a little bit as we enter better weather. Comparing spring 2026 to spring 2025 should actually tell us a lot more about where the market is actually going, so just try to keep an eye on that. The detached benchmark home price is currently sitting at around $726,000, which is down 2.6% year over year, with the average days on market sitting at 52 days. Last month, there were 587 detached home sales, which is down 4% year over year. And new listings came in at 559, which puts the months of supply at 2.7. So detached homes in Calgary are still showing some resilience as we enter 2026, while overall prices have eased slightly compared to this time last year. Detached home sales have remained relatively steady, and the months of supply shows us that we're pretty near a balanced market. The semi-detached benchmark home price came in at around $667,000, which is down 2% from this time last year, with the average days on market sitting at 54 days to sell the average semi-detached property in Calgary. And in December, there were 96 semi-detached home sales, which is down 23% from this time last year. New listings in this segment came in at 102, with the current months of supply sitting at 3.98. Semi-detached properties in Calgary continue to perform in line with detached properties in terms of balance and pricing. And this segment has tended to hold its value pretty well throughout the entirety of the year. Sales have eased, but semi-detached properties, just like detached properties, aren't seeing the same amount of slowdown as we're seeing in the higher density segments of the market. The row house benchmark price is currently sitting at around $421,000, which is down 6% year over year, with the average days on market for row houses currently sitting at around 50 days. There were 171 row home sales in December, which is actually down 25% from this time last year. And new listings in this segment came in at 204, giving us a months of supply at 3.82. So as mentioned previously, the row house segment has definitely been under more pressure than the detached and semi-detached segments of the market. Increased supply in this segment has led to increased inventory and a noticeable softening of prices. While still an attractive option for many due to cost and lifestyle, row homes are definitely in a much more competitive environment. And currently, buyers are seeing a lot more choice and a lot less urgency than in the lower density segments. The apartment benchmark price in Calgary is currently sitting at around $303,000, which is down 7% year over year, with the average days on market for apartments currently sitting at 57 days. Apartment sales are currently down 24% year over year, with the total coming in at 272. New listings in this segment came in at 354, giving us a total months of supply at 4.55. So apartments are still the most challenged segment relative to the rest of the Calgary market as we enter the new year. Elevated inventory levels and price declines have pushed this segment into a clear buyer's market, with significantly longer days on market compared to the lower density segments. Now, the months of supply has actually come down quite a bit since November, so this is something to keep an eye on and could be good news if the trend holds. For buyers looking for entry-level or investment opportunities, this has created conditions with more negotiating power on the buy side, but make certain that you're holding for the long term. If you plan on selling again over the next couple of years, just be careful. You may end up selling at a lower price than when you bought if the current downward trends in the apartment segment holds. So that's your Calgary market update for this month. As always, the overall numbers only tell part of the story, and the trends can look a lot different depending on your neighborhood and property type. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.